Well, as I talked about in a previous segment, Joe Biden delivered his State of the Union address last night, and it was so strong and compelling that Fox News hosts around the world seem to be having their brains melted and broken. What do I mean by that? Well, now the same people who have been saying Joe Biden's too sleepy and too old and he has too many gaffes and he doesn't have any energy, etc., are now criticizing him for, wait for it, being too jacked up, in the words of Sean Hannity, being too energetic. Mediaite reports on this, and I'll show you a clip in a second. Jacked up Joe. Sean Hannity criticized Biden for having too much energy in the State of the Union speech. Sean, you've been saying he should have more energy. He brought the energy. You should be rooting for him. Here's what I think happened, by the way. I think Sean Hannity and the other Fox News hosts worked all day. It's hard to prepare a nationally broadcasted show, right? It's a lot of work. And so they were working on that monologue and they're going to crush Biden over him being too sleepy and not energetic enough. And then they didn't know what to do. They panicked because the monologue made no sense. Even their viewers wouldn't buy the normal pre-prepped, pre-written monologue that Sean Hannity had prepped for after this speech. So they had to flip it on its head completely and say this.
And welcome to Hannity. We start tonight with a Fox News alert. Tonight, President Joe Biden laid out his radical wish list for America. His speech was...
What's radical about what he talked about in this speech, Sean Hannity? A conservative Border Patrol union and conservative senator supported piece of legislation like the border bill that would address the very issues you've been saying you care about? Or are you against clean and reliable drinking water, an achievement of Joe Biden making those policy investments, or roads, bridges, broadband? Are you against health care being expanded for veterans? What's so radical about the talking points and the policy achievements of Joe Biden?
So hyped up, it was bizarre. I will not be shouting the whole hour. Frankly, so at odds with everyday Joe, it's even frightening to me. He spent most of the night shouting, speeding through his speech, and clearly overcompensating from the normal everyday Joe that can barely string two sentences together. At times, it became uncomfortable watching him screaming and yelling and speeding through that speech. The AP affectionately called it feisty. I guess that's one way to describe it.
So let me translate. Here's what I picture. Okay, not that this is actually the case, but just picture all of the right-wing media figures and Republican politicians in one big group text. Okay, and it's called "We Hate Joe Biden." I don't know, whatever it's called. And in that, they were texting, "Oh, this is going to be horrible. We're going to crush him tonight." And then slowly, people started panicking. Wait, this is good. Oh no. Snap polling reveals people really like this speech and are being compelled by Joe Biden. What do we do? And then one of them said, I guess he was sort of talking loudly at certain parts, yelling. That's the term. He was too hopped up. He was too excited. He was too passionate. He was too effective. Let's just criticize him for that. And that was the new talking point because you're hearing it everywhere. Just get ready. If you go on social media, yelling. Why was he yelling? We looked at in the past segment, his State of the Union address or certain moments from it. The yelling was not yelling. It was just speaking authoritatively as you're supposed to in those sorts of settings. Frank Lunt said, this is the loudest State of the Union speech I can remember. Let's see whether undecided voters like being yelled at. Brian Todd Cohen responded saying, uh-oh, the too sleepy Joe people have pivoted to too awake Joe. Exactly correct. A very strange thing to see. And it went so well and Biden was so compelling that even Fox hosts had to admit it went well.
You've seen the president behind the scenes. You've had communication with him. You've said you've talked to him. You read him that portion of the bill. And then you saw him last night. And Democrats this morning are high-fiving each other saying, whew, he's going to make it. He's going to fight. He's going to get us all the way through. And he's going to take on Donald Trump. He's going to take it to him every day. Now, to me, a State of the Union for a president, they are set up for success. So it was a low bar. He cleared it very well. And now the Democrats are happy today. And the talk about replacing him at the convention will go away. Do you think it lasts?
I don't. I think it.
And the normal stuff there from Speaker of the House Mike Johnson that I don't need to subject you to. Here's the thing. We all know that the reason why Joe Biden is the far superior candidate to Donald Trump and has had such a great presidency is not because he's the most remarkable orator in the history of America. It's because he's governing effectively. And in this speech, yes, he delivered it great in terms of rhetoric and terms of just speech delivery, but also he got a chance in front of a large audience to speak about the policies that we talk about on a regular basis. And as we talked about in a past segment, the polling reveals, at least a CNN Snap poll, that before the speech, more people were saying, I don't know if his policies are bringing the country in the correct direction. Then after the speech, they say, I think they are, overwhelmingly. And that's just because people are not being properly informed on what his administration's doing day to day. The fun, salacious topics get all the coverage that don't actually break down what policies are being implemented that benefit the lives of Americans, of working people. And so when Joe Biden gets to deliver that message to people more directly in a rare situation where a lot of Americans are watching him, they have a positive feeling about it. And they change their mind a little bit on him. And that's why Fox News is panicking. And they're panicking because once again, we get a strong jobs report. Once again, we see that Bidenomics is working.
Right now, Shokasani, you've got the number.
We came in at 275,000. We were only looking for 200,000. That is much hotter than a...
Now, by the way, this is funny. Maria Bartiromo has her little conspiracy theory. This is just being artificially inflated to help Biden by design.
Look, Charles, I mean, if you've got government holding the strings and pulling the strings, of course you're going to get a better showing than reality. I'm wondering if this is going to be the case all year until Election Day. I mean, government's creating all these jobs, making the numbers look so great.
It's so suspicious that the government's doing things to create jobs, and I don't know why I'm yelling. I'm going to criticize Biden for yelling, but now I'm going to shout at my camera, even though I'm mic'd up with something that can pick me up without shouting. And all these jobs are just too good to be true, and maybe this is some conspiracy to help Americans so that people want to vote him into office so he can keep helping them, which is democracy, right? Isn't that a good thing? Why are you talking about Maria Bartiromo? We looked at a Fox host on a bonus show a couple days ago saying that, this wage inflation actually is bad. And this is going to hurt Americans. And what he's talking about is while inflation's coming down rapidly to a really healthy amount, wages still continue to increase. And so people are actually able to make more compared to the cost of things. And somehow with this wage inflation term, he's able to spin that as a bad thing. Here, a similar thing. The government's just doing things to help people and they're getting jobs. And I don't know why that's the case. I just don't understand why Maria Bartiromo yells. Speaking of yelling, again, Biden's in front of a huge audience. Yeah, you can yell in that situation, but you're in a news studio. What are you doing, Maria? Anyways, there's that. Isn't that crazy? The new talking point's the exact opposite of the previous one. Now Biden's too energetic. He's too sharp. He's too cognitively there, as Trump would say. And that's just suspicious, okay? I'm suspicious of it. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel.